All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking a source that lays out a pretty radical idea. What if the political chaos we see all around us isn't just happening by accident? What if it's actually a plan? We're going to break down this theory step by step to really get what the argument is. So let's get into it.
So, this is the question that kicks the whole thing off. Think about it. What if all the anger, the deep divisions in our society, what if it wasn't just a random turn of events, but the outcome of a carefully executed strategy? It's a huge idea, so let's see exactly how the source builds its case.
Okay, so the first big claim here is that the political battles we follow, the ones that get us all fired up, are basically just a show. The source is arguing that it's a spectacle, a performance, really, designed to keep us distracted while the real moves are being made behind the scenes.
And to back this up, the analysis really zeroes in on political figures who've built their entire brand on being the outsider, the rebel. The source uses someone like Donald Trump as its main case study, trying to highlight what it claims is a massive contradiction between what's said and what's done.
And this is where it gets really interesting. This slide breaks down that core contradiction the source is pointing to. On one side, you've got all the public talk, the us versus them narrative, fighting against these huge globalist forces. But on the other side, the analysis alleges a whole network of connections to the very same power players being slammed in public.
And we're not just talking generalities here. The source gets really specific, listing out these alleged connections that seem to fly in the face of that anti-establishment message. It brings up things like financial bailouts, key collaborations, and even specific appointments, all as evidence that this opposition might not be what it seems. It kind of suggests a much more complicated game is being played.
So, you might be asking, if the conflict is manufactured, what's the point? What's the end goal? Well, according to this theory, it's all part of a much bigger plan to intentionally bring down the current world order. The source even claims there's a literal playbook for it.
This is really the heart of the argument. The idea that all the chaos and decay we might be seeing isn't just a system failing on its own. Instead, it's a system being actively and methodically demolished by people who want to build something totally new on top of the ruins.
Now, here's a fascinating twist. The source points to a book by a billionaire investor, a book that analyzes how empires rise and fall throughout history. But the claim is that this book isn't just being read as a warning. It's being used as an instruction manual, a step-by-step guide on which levers to pull to make sure an empire collapses. And here they are, the alleged steps right out of that playbook. Each one of these is like a direct hit on a vital pillar of a nation's strength. You've got undermining education, piling on debt, gutting industry, weakening the military. But according to the source, that last one, that's the real knockout punch.
Right. And it's that final step, division, that the analysis says is the absolute linchpin of the whole operation. It's not just one more step, it's the master key, the ultimate weapon for control. I mean, this is a classic move, right? Divide and conquer. It's a strategy as old as empires. The logic is simple. If people are busy fighting each other, they can't possibly unite to fight you. You fragment the population, you turn them against each other, and they become way easier to manage. And this is what it's all supposedly for. According to this analysis, it's not about one side winning the fight. It's about the fight itself. The goal is to crank up the conflict and the polarization until society is just exhausted, broken down, and so desperate for peace that they will accept literally any solution offered to them. Okay, so the stage is set. The population is divided, exhausted, and desperate. What comes next? Well, this is where the source claims the real trap is sprung. A pre-planned solution is rolled out, and it's all framed within a classic philosophical model. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. It sounds super academic, I know, but the source breaks it down into a really simple three-part formula for manipulating society. You create a problem, you wait for the reaction, and then you offer your solution. Let's see how that works. So, step one, you've got your thesis. That's the existing system, the status quo, the establishment. Then you create, or at least you amplify, an antithesis. This is a force that seems to be in complete and total opposition to the thesis. And the source argues that's the manufactured battle we were just talking about. And that clash between the two, that's not a side effect. It is the goal. It's engineered to create massive society-wide conflict. That's the polarization that wears everybody down and creates that desperation for any kind of resolution. And all of that chaos, all that fighting, it's designed to lead to one place, the synthesis,
After everyone is just sick and tired of the conflict, this third way is presented. But the source claims it isn't some natural compromise. No, it's the predetermined outcome that the entire conflict was engineered to bring about from the very beginning. All right, so let's pull back the curtain on the final act, this so-called synthesis, this third way. What does it actually look like, according to the source material we're looking at? And you can see why this would be so tempting, right? It's sold as the sensible, moderate solution for a society that's been torn to shreds by extremes. It promises stability, unity, and end to all the fighting. It's basically the light at the end of a very long, very dark tunnel. But what is it, really? Well, according to the source, this third way is a whole package of ideas that all point towards more centralized power. We're talking about things like technocracy, where unelected experts make the big decisions, not politicians. Stakeholder capitalism, where big corporations have a direct say in how society is run. And central bank digital currencies, which could mean the end of financial privacy as we know it. It's basically a total fusion of corporate and state power. And so, this analysis leaves us right here with this one big question. It suggests that while we're all busy fighting the battle between the thesis and the antithesis, we might be getting led straight into a solution, the synthesis, that was the goal the whole time. A new system that could have a lot less freedom than the old one. Definitely a thought-provoking end to a very complex theory.